I'd like to introduce my amazing friend and roommate, Emily Rush. Hi, Emily. Thanks for speaking with me.
Of course.
So you're a student here at OSU. What exactly do you study?
I am a double major for early childhood education and visual impairments.
Very cool. So is that a large major?
No, there's only one cohort as of now, and there's only 22 students in it.
Very cool. So what has your experience been like working with visually impaired students?
It's been very interesting. I've learned a lot of things. It's taught me a lot of patience. Before working with children with visual impairments, I kind of felt like I needed to be hands-on all the time, but I've learned working with them that they need to learn on their own. So, for example, waiting for them to find the button to open doors, it usually takes them a few minutes, which seems like a really long time to just walk inside, but it's something we have to do to let them figure it out themselves. So just experiences like that.
So what has been the most rewarding experience about your program?
So I am placed in the Ohio State School for the Blind, and I go once a week for 4 hours, and I volunteer in the modeling club. And so the Ohio State School for the Blind actually has the largest collection of modeled monuments and famous buildings from around the world, such as different pyramids, Washington monuments, the Taj Mahal, that kind of stuff. And they're from when FDR put artists back to work during the Great Depression. So over the years, they've broken. And so the School for the Blind got a grant to get a bunch of 3D printers. So in the modeling club, we basically fixed these models by printing the parts, and then we took it further to print smaller versions in different colors so that different kids with different disabilities and visual impairments can all see them or feel them without worrying about breaking them. And another thing we did was researched these buildings and then wrote in large print and in Braille descriptions of what they are so that the kids could learn about them.
That's a really cool experience. Did the kids enjoy that?
Yeah, they had a big fair once we finished it all last week, and they invited the donors of the 3D printers to come, so they were really happy to see that their money was going to really good use, and the kids were all really excited. And we also printed some other things like atoms and molecules and butterflies and even Script Ohio, just so they could take toys with them too.
That's awesome. Was there something that inspired you to pursue this career path?
Yeah, so when I came into college, I wanted to be in the medical field because ever since I was little, I've wanted to work in a hospital because I battled pediatric cancer for 6 years of my life. And so I wanted to be a child life specialist or someone who would kind of play with the kids. But I realized that they don't really make enough to make a living, so I figured I'd go into the medical field. But then I realized that I wasn't really interested in the subjects I was taking in school, and also I was kind of just reflecting on it and how I've always had a passion for teaching, and something that kind of helped me make my decision was, even though I was in the hospital for 6 years and had all these experiences and spent every day with different doctors and nurses but had the same medical team, I only remember one of my doctor's names, but I remember every single one of my teacher's names, and they all made such a lasting impact on me that that's the kind of career that I want.
Wow, that's really interesting. What was your experience like battling cancer as a child?
So my little sister was born in October of 2000, and that Christmas Eve my parents noticed that I was acting just strange, so they took me to the hospital, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, but I was definitely sick just based on all the symptoms I had, like high fever, bruising, that kind of stuff. And after 4 months, they finally diagnosed me with a really rare cancer called Langerhans cell histiocytosis, or LCH, which is when your white blood cells overproduce and then they attack each other and then tumors form. So I fought it for like a year, and then I went into remission, but a few months later it came back, so I fought it again, and then I went into remission and it came back a third time, and that was the longest battle I had. But then I beat it. I think I fought cancer for like about 5 years until I was completely cancer-free. But then my spine ended up collapsing just because there were so many tumors on it, and when they went away, it just wasn't strong enough to hold itself up. So then my doctor was able to artificially regenerate my spine, but because of that, I was in a body cast for like a year and a half, and my parents like had to pull me everywhere in a wagon.
Wow, that's a really crazy experience, and obviously I'm very glad that you were able to recover. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with me.
Of course. Thanks for interviewing me.